This is section 3, part 13 of our 2021 Vectorworks drafting tutorial. And in this section, we'll be talking about inserting symbol keys or instrument keys. These work much like the key on a map, and it essentially tells you what sort of symbol represents what, and specifically in this instance, it's what symbol represents which type of lighting fixture in communicating with electricians so that the light plot gets hung properly. So in my drawing, I'm going to have that open, and I'm going to be in the overhead light plot sheet layer that we were in when we finished the previous tutorial. And in my lighting tool set, I'm going to come over and select Instrument Summary. And once I have that selected, I'm going to come up here and select the Preferences in the toolbar. That's going to give me a new dialog box. I'm going to leave Show Symbols selected and Auto Rotate, and also Show Wattages. The others I'm going to leave unchecked. In our second column, I'm going to deselect Show Swatch. I don't want the color information to be in the instrument key. And down at Title, I'm going to activate Show Title, and I'm going to change the text to Instrument Key. Before I click OK, I'm going to come up to the top of the left column and click Build List. So this is the list of all of the symbols used in my drawing. And we'll be bouncing back and forth between instrument symbols and other symbols to build the list for our instrument key. So on page 55 of the written tutorial, I've given you an outline of how I'd like you to construct this, but I'm also going to walk you through it right here. So we're going to start in Other Elements and select Column Headers, and I'm going to click on this arrow right here so it sends it into my component list. Then I'm going to go to Used Instrument Symbols, select the third one down, and send it into my component list. It's going to automatically select the next one, and I'm going to send it into the list. Then I'm going to click on what is now the middle one, which should be the medium flood par, and send it into my component list. And then I'm going to click on my SkyPsych fixture and send it into the component list. Then I'm going to go to Other Elements, and I'm going to select Column Break. I'm creating a new column here, and send that into my components list. And then I'm going to select Header and send it into my components list, which just gives me a set of braces. If you double click on them, you can edit what's inside of them, and I'm going to call this one Accessories. And click OK, and now you can see that that text has been entered inside of those braces. I'm going to go back to Used Instrument Symbols, and I only have one left, so I'm going to select it and send it into my components list. However, it put it up above the accessories, so I'm going to grab the 8 and just drag it up above the 7, and then it's going to be in the order that I want it to be in. I'm going to go to Other Elements and select Divider and send it into my list. And then I'm going to select Header once again and make it part of the component list. And I'll double click on the braces, and I'm going to call this one Typical. This represents the typical symbol of how the information is laid out so that we know where to look for the channel number, the dimmer number, the color, etc. So then, while still under Other Elements, I'm going to click on Typical Symbol, and insert that. And once it's in, I'm going to double click on it again. And you can see I've got a small version of my resource manager. I'm going to come down to Label Legends and then click this drop down menu, and I'm going to select Frontlight. Great, so that's there, and I'm going to click OK. So now that's the label legend that it will reference as my typical symbol. Once all that's populated, I'm going to click OK. And I get back to my initial dialog box, which is all set. So I'm going to click OK. And now you see I have this kind of ghosted view of what my instrument key is going to look like. And I'm just going to randomly place it in my drawing right now. So I'll double click to do that and then go back to my selection tool. Here you can see all of the information that we have put in already. And I'm going to grab the bottom right smart point of that rectangle and click and drag it over to the bottom left smart point of my title block. And the last thing that I'm going to do is, with the instrument key still selected, I'm going to come up to my attributes palette to my line weight, and I'm going to change its line weight to 20 mil. Great. And so we've got the instrument key inserted. So I'm going to fit to page and save my file. And that's the end of this section. In the next section, we'll look at creating a front of house viewport.